You can sort of see me through the reflection at least. It is very cold outside today. When I got up this morning, it was minus 20 Celsius, which is, what, around 0 Fahrenheit, I think? I'm bad at that. I know with the wind chill it was minus 20 Fahrenheit, which is like minus 30 Celsius or so. Anyway, yeah, it's cold outside, and we had a lot of snow. You could sort of tell from the depth of the sidewalk plowing, but that's about it. Hi. Um, I'm having a really bad mental health day today, so I don't have too many tools left that I can use to try and help myself with it, but I thought I would at least try just recording something. I've done this lots of times. Usually I don't even bother uploading it. I should probably bring the camera closer to my face so I can see and pivot things a bit. As you can tell, it is extremely bright outside. Trying to stay out of the light. You can see how bright it is just from my hands, yet not stand up all the way because I am wearing a swag shirt, and I don't think Citrix deserves the advertising revenue. Days like today that remind me that, yes, I am disabled. My depression and anxiety disorders are, in fact, disabling for me. They make it where I can't perform everyday functions. I was doing really well today, too. I finally had enough physical health to be able to work properly at a reasonably full speed, and then brain decided to just cram itself full with as many anxieties as possible, plus depression, plus missing people. Yes, there is a zone kitty right there. I'm gonna sit up a little better. Oh, it means that I'm covering up zone kitty. I'm also covering up the big pile of clean laundry on my bed behind me. So yeah. Let's see. Things that are going on. Oh, tomorrow there will in fact be a Smack video. I did finish editing it, and it's already scheduled. I finished editing it this past weekend. I've been running around with an IRS issue like a chicken with my head cut off. IRS, for reference for those outside the US, is the Internal Revenue Service. It's our US's tax service. There's lots of complications when it comes to being married to a foreign national who's not a U.S. citizen, not a U.S. resident, and has not resided in the United States the entire year. So, yeah, things get really complicated fast. I'm still trying to figure out the best way of handling my taxes on that. I may end up just having to do a best effort and correct it later if things go wrong. Let's see, after work today, I'm just taking a break from work because it's not like I can focus right now anyway. After work today, I have a meeting, a Zoom meeting with a potential person, group of people, company's the right term, to move my things. It's the slow boat method of moving, where they just load up a shipping crate with all of my things and put it on a boat in the Atlantic and have it set sail whenever it gets a chance. It will take months to arrive, but that's fine. Most of my stuff I don't need right away. In fact, the stuff that I need right away I'm going to be putting into suitcases, so it's fine. But I don't even know what to even show the person, because it's like, yeah, I want to move things. It includes some bowls and dishes, and some of which I'll bring with me, most of which I won't. I may end up just buying some more and bringing the stuff that's already in a box with me. But anyway, it's going to include that. It's going to include some articles of clothing that I don't need right away because I'll be moving in spring and not in the dead of winter. It's going to include various bits of computer parts and computer paraphernalia that I have not organized or gathered together whatsoever. It's going to include things like my memory boxes and other things that are in totes. But they're all over the house. And I'm not really moving much in the way of furniture other than a desk chair, some cat furniture, and potentially my desk, depending on how much it costs to move these things. Just all of this is so much to deal with. And I'm having to deal with this on top of trying to work at the same time. Which doesn't work very well because everybody wants to talk during business hours. Also dealing with my bad nutrition at the moment. I have been trying to reduce the amount of money that I'm spending on food because I am spending an awful lot on food. But as a result, part of that reduction in spend revolves around me reducing the amount of surplus food that I have in the house. So I've been mostly eating out of my so-called emergency food supplies, where I have food that are like in the freezer that could just be thawed outside, or okay, if there's another pandemic that starts, I don't starve immediately a month in or anything like that. I usually keep about a month's worth of food in advance, but it's not necessarily the most nutritious stuff in the world. I am mostly out of vegetables right now, and I don't intend to go grocery shopping online until this weekend. So I'm sure part of my problem has to do with the fact that I've had very little in the way of vegetables lately. I am having some, for reference. It's not like I'm entirely eating junk food or anything, but it's not been the healthiest thing in the world. All of my time is being spent dealing with the move and all of that fun stuff. I haven't shaved recently, hence why this is thick, and you can even see some of the hair on my head. You can also see how ludicrously thin it is, given that, this is 2 weeks worth? Maybe 3? This angle, you can finally see the weight in my beard. Trying to plan out everything. On top of that, also trying to research into what apartments to be able to live in Bergen, because apparently Norwegians don't always list whether they allow pets in an apartment on their listings. This entire time I have had my listings filtered off of places that specifically allow 4 pets. Because I'm going to have 2 cats with me. One of them's right there. Kind of need to make sure that I have a place that'll accept cats. But apparently, the standard in Norway is to not bother mentioning it until people contact you, and then you negotiate it. Which means that now I have to go look at a bunch of places for rent that don't advertise that they accept pets, which was my biggest filter that I had in order to be able to reduce the sheer amount of information down to something I can comprehend. Of course, by filtering it down to that extent, there was very few places left available to me, and then there's the fact that my partner and I have different opinions as to what we consider very important for apartments. Specifically things like location and noise levels. Noise levels are not exactly something I can predict in advance. All I can do is look up on Google Street View and see, oh, well, there's a factory right across the street. Obviously, this is going to be pretty noisy. Or, empty field across the street. Going to be fairly quiet. That's all I have to go on. But unfortunately, somebody who depends on public transportation all the time, I would like to have public transit very close to me, which usually means it's noisier. So, dealing with that potential conflict between myself and my partner as to which type of place we each prefer, and naturally I'm pretty sure both of us would say we're okay with the other one, we would just prefer not to. And for reference, I am not blaming my partner whatsoever. I do that exact same thing. It's one of the reasons why it's so difficult for me to make a decision that affects somebody else, is because I never know what to weigh their opinions versus my opinions on things like that. It's really hard to tell, this is super important to me versus this is important but not critical, and if this is more important to you, then go ahead. It's the whole making a compromise thing only makes sense when you have all the information available. I keep having to sit up further and further up because the sun is starting to set. And yeah, this is on top of the fact that I am dealing with a current dive in mental health. I have not been able to speak with a therapist in over 4 months now. And in fact, it will be the end of February before I have my first therapy appointment. I'm moving in May, or maybe April, but April-May timeframe. I'm going to have a therapist for like 2 months, and that's it, and then start having to go through this entire process over again in a country that I don't speak the primary language of, trying to get mental health services, which almost inevitably have a long waiting list, just like they do here. For reference, if anybody tries to argue garbage with you about a universal healthcare system, about waiting lists and so on, the waiting list for my therapy is about 6 months long to get a therapist. The waiting list for an ear issue that I was having, or specifically it was dizziness, but they assumed it was an inner ear issue, was 1.5 years, which hit during the pandemic, where they turned around and just canceled my appointment and said, congratulations, you're going on the end of the waiting list again. They still haven't contacted me. The pandemic started over 2 years ago. Over 2 years? Yeah, the main part of the pandemic hit March 15th in 2020. Oh crap, that's 3 years. Anyway, this is a horribly discombobulated video, but my brain just wanted to talk to somebody. Maybe I'll even upload this one. I need a break from all of this. I need to be able to relax. I need to be able to walk again. I have barely walked outside in the past few weeks. I mean, at the moment, it's because it's cold enough for us to have frostbite advisories out, but, I play Pokemon Go, and there's a weekly update as to how far you've walked in the past week, and last week, I didn't even make the minimum 5 kilometers worth of walking. For somebody who used to walk an hour a day, every day minimum, that is ludicrously low. But walking has become such a chore that I don't want to. I don't want to leave my house. Because there's nothing for me to do, and there's no place for me to go. I actually got a library card, so I would have a destination to walk to on weekends, except my weekends are so packed full of things that I'm utterly exhausted the moment I even have a chance to not have to think about one of those things. And in reality, I'm just putting something off for the next weekend. It's part of the reason why I'm so delayed on editing videos, is because editing a video takes at least 1.5 hours for an hour-long video. And I don't have that 1.5 hours. Okay, I've spent 15 minutes away. I should get back to work. Talk to you later, Nat. I hope you're having a good kitten. Because I'm definitely not. My cats are generally fine, but just really bad day.